Get ready to be inspired by Mason's incredible journey and the pivotal moments that have defined his experience so far. Since you actually did dive into it and you made the decision to commit, what's been the most surprising or impactful change for you so far?
I just think how quickly it's grown, how quickly I've gone from, going through all of the steps in the course, building the website, contacting suppliers, to generating consistent sales, and how quickly it's turned from something that feels like a very online course to something that feels very real life business, and how quickly it's grown into a sustainable business and a scalable business that I can really see the path for growth, and how quickly I think I've progressed to a point now where staff looking for optimization with the business. So I'd say what surprised me the most is how quickly it's turned into what it is now, the speed of it.
Amazing. It's impressive to see how far you've come in the 8 months, and we're going to get really deep into that as we speak today. Before we get into how much progress you've seen, though, I'm keen to ask you a little bit more about your drive. And you're clearly a very driven individual at a young age, through getting into professional football and then business ventures, and now really hitting it off with your e-commerce business. I'm keen to hear about, in your own words, what do you think is that drive? What is it that you're really pushing towards? What is your goal that you're driving towards with these business ventures?
I've always wanted a level of, I feel like freedom and is kind of dictated by how many choices you can make. And the more choices you can make about your life, obviously, the freer you are to a certain extent. So I've always wanted to be able to make choices about my life, whether that's what I'm doing on this day, whether that's where I am in the world. So yeah, of course, the basic things like financial freedom and location freedom's always been something important to me. I feel like I've always had the role models of my parents, them both, work hard and show me that drive. So I just feel like that's been something that's kind of always naturally been instilled in me. So I feel like it comes very naturally to work on these ventures.
Yeah, fantastic. You've obviously got really good people around you. I can tell that from the way that you speak so well, and you get your point across very clearly. So that drive for freedom, which is inside so much of us, especially when you start to get pushed down into a career that starts to take freedom away, whether that's a 9-to-5 job or even in a professional football, it's still a career that takes freedom away. So what specifically drew you towards dropshipping in order for you to gain more freedom over your life?
Like I mentioned before, the location freedom was something that's really important to me. I feel like e-commerce is a great space and there's so many different ways you can do it and so many different paths and avenues to take. But one thing that I like about dropshipping, of course, not having to take any stock, and being able to really just scale it from what you have now. You don't need to put any huge, crazy first investments down for a building or property or stock. And, you can really build it as it goes. And once you get that proof of concept, you can grow it as you grow, and as the profits grow, the sales grow. It becomes very easy to grow it. So I think what drew me most to dropshipping is that location freedom. Is something that I feel like I can scale from anywhere in the world and scale, in that sustainable way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're clearly someone who thought very consciously about the business model that you wanted to enter. So I imagine you're also somebody who did their due diligence when it comes to which options you took for the education around getting that up and running, like you say, rather than potentially wasting a lot of time and money getting it wrong. So as you mentioned, there are many of these here today, gone tomorrow type actors out there on Instagram, TikTok, flogging cheap courses that, kind of have outdated information in. What made you feel that the Dropship Unlocked mentorship program was worth the investment for you, especially at such a young age?
It's just really the care and effort you could see that had been put into the actual course and the information. I think what I got straight away, I'd say I'm quite a person who likes to know the full details and likes to do things properly and to the best of my ability. And I feel like that was always something that I got from the course, is how well it was laid out and how ability. I'm going to be using that word a lot, I'm sure, but I think it is so important. The foundations of any business really set it up for what it's going to become, and building on foundations that are not sustainable. Ultimately, it may see temporary success, but what I was interested in creating and what I've always been interested in creating with my other ventures is sustainability and things that are going to last the test of time, not be here for 6 months, a year, but be here, for years to come. So I think just the way in which the program was presented, the way in which it was broken down, all made it very appealing to me. And once I'd come across it and I'd done more research, it became pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah, it sounds like the course resonates with your values of building something that's meant to last for the long term, so that you don't have to be constantly spinning the wheel to find new products and, new business models. As soon as you put one business model together properly, then it will pay you for years to come. And that's what you're well in the process of doing. Now, you mentioned a big part of the program that helped you to learn was the fact it's a live coaching program and it's not just a course and you just get left to your own devices. How did you make the most, or what do you find most valuable about the live coaching element of Dropship Unlocked?
I think the live element is probably one of the most valuable elements because it's always updating. If you've got a course that's created 3 years ago, there's some things that are going to be just as relevant today, but there's some things, whether that's with Google Ads, whether that's with certain things about the domain platform that are gonna be slightly tweaked. So I think having that live element gives it a constant chance to update, to be with the latest information. Obviously, since the date when it was created to now, there's things that will have changed. Those live Q&A calls that are twice a week, just so valuable because once again, you've got that opportunity to speak to someone who's been there, who's done that, who's built it up from the exact same point you are, and ask them questions that they would have been through. So yeah, I think it always being up to date, it always being current is only going to aid the growth of the business that you're working on right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mason, on that one. I think that the live element brings it to life. It makes it real, doesn't it? It's because otherwise you just watch videos on YouTube and everyone would have a successful business if it was as easy as just watching some information and absorbing and actioning it. I think it's the application of the information that makes the difference. And sometimes that's not a linear path. It's not straightforward. It's like, well, it depends what niche you're in. It depends what your suppliers say. It depends what, website theme you're using, stuff like that. So we wanted to take that live element to the next level. And you'll know this as one of our members, but one of the unique aspects of Dropship Unlocked is our in-person meetups that we do every quarter. And so I know we were together recently at the last one we did. How has meeting other members face-to-face, so at these meetups we do every single quarter, how is meeting them face-to-face, connecting with other members in the community who are on the same path as you, doing what you're doing, building businesses like you, who also aspire for that same freedom that you do, how would you say that's impacted your journey so far?
I think it's, once again, been so valuable, meeting people face-to-face as well. Of course, you're connecting on the community, real face-to-face interaction, speaking to someone who's on the same journey as you, often aligns with a lot of the values that you align with. Refreshing, and I think it just can help to give that motivator to continue to push in. And you meet some great people all in different stages of the journey. You've got people just starting, people who have scaled for years now. So I think meeting people at all levels of the spectrum really helps. And you can find help and you can also be that help for someone else. But I think, yeah, the live connection is just something that's really, really helpful to just kind of continue to give you that motivation, continue to make you want to carry on and know that, there's a bunch of people out here that are on the same path. And there's definitely power in numbers when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, it really does make it real. It brings it to life. And I imagine it's like when you were playing football, if you were told every single morning you had to go and just train on a field on your own in the cold, in the rain, and you never had teammates around you, there would be like, there's no camaraderie, there's no team spirit, there's no competitiveness. It's just like, well, I'm just on my own. I'm just relying on sole willpower. And I think if you bring that into entrepreneurship, you're like standing there working on a desert island on your own. It can be incredibly lonely. You second guess yourself constantly. And I think, yeah, your example there of actually not just getting inspired by others, but you helping others who maybe are on their first step, and you're passing down the ladder and showing them, hey, look, here's how I did those steps. And before you know it, they're making sales too.